This guy treated me like I'm here on a job, and I cannot, based on my feelings for you, run with him. Who are you? You're no one. I'm here for a job. I'm here to finally hand you over to structures that need you handed over. Because I want to eradicate the guilty conscience that you are in my heart. I want to eradicate that you get to me. I want to eradicate that which I have signed my soul over to, that which I belong to is the right deal, that I'm not going to hell. I want to eviscerate the veracity of what you keep on saying is the hell I'm going to. I want to get rid of it by getting rid of you. And if I can get rid of you, I don't have to be toggled away by my conscience anymore. I don't have to be eliminated by my fear of that which you say being potentially true. Because then you're going to stand in the way of what I'm doing. You are going to interrupt the peace of me acquiring for myself an empire. I am building something here. Do you not understand? And I don't want you rocking up all up in my conscience and like buzzing around like a bee in my face and making me uncomfortable about the heinous life I'm living. And you being that thing. I'm going to therefore take it upon myself even though I don't need the money. I'm going to take it upon myself even though I don't need to collect on the bounty on your head. I'm going to take it upon myself to fix it because you get to. This is this man. And this is what he did to me in my dream. He saw it fit to handle me, to do away with me, to eradicate feelings he has for me that are genuine, to go on right ahead and totally and comprehensively pretend like it's a thing, to eviscerate that which makes you uncomfortable because you want to believe that you can belong to a cult, a secret society, an organization that is destroying the futures of people and be safe in the sight of a holy God when your occult uses black magic to afflict people. And so given that spirits are evidently a thing that you believe in, how therefore is there no God? How is there no God? How do you believe in witchcraft but not in God? How do you believe in spirits but not the Holy Spirit? It's naive to hold on to sorcery, especially as men and women who belong to the occult. And this man was literally there on a mission to eradicate the conscience that I am, the thing that is attacking a conscience that I am. He was out here literally with every bone in his body trying to eviscerate the veracity of the God I speak about by eviscerating me, by destroying me, by disemboweling me, by handing me over to the enemy that Alja could not get to me. And despite what he felt for me, threw me to the dogs. Samela, you belong to cult that make you imagine it is a necessary evil to kill people you care about, that you love. Because this here world is a place of transaction. And if you can't build me anything, if you can't afford me anything, if you can't enable my cause, I'm not trying to hang with you. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in hell. And so I don't believe in your God that can also give me heaven if I trust him. But you make me uncomfortable because you're birds of a feather with kindred spirits. We agree on more or less the same topics. But I feel like this whole God thing that you're doing is eternal. However, I'm severely uncomfortable at what you're doing because I keep on listening to you. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to look at all the victims of my cult, but I looked at you because you are to be causing everybody to be losing their damn mind. So Karabu, I need you to move out the way so I can carry on building my life. I need you to move out the way so I can carry on being who I need to be. I need you to leave me alone to become a big fat chunky shallow boy that's doing shallow things in these streets, marrying shallow women and out here building shallow lives with no substance. Until as an older man, I'm making mistresses out of perfectly viable young women that want to go find love, but I found them because I realized that life is not about being shallow, it needs substance. And I can't find that substance where I'm married, and I also cannot find that substance where I'm hanging out with people playing golf. I miss other people that are out here running businesses. I cannot find the substance I need if I'm hanging out with men like Jeffrey Epstein. So I'm going to go and make a mistress out of some lady. But right now, while I'm still young and tender, while I'm yet to be married, and right now while I'm yet to make too many mistakes, I'm going to eviscerate anything that is a conscience all up in my growth, beating like drums all the night long, trying to tell me that I'm going to regret this. You're that thing, and I need you eliminated. So while I might have feelings for you, I don't care. While I might like you, I don't care. While I might consider you kindred spirits, I don't care. Because I consider you, frankly, one who is self-defeating. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You don't want to sign a contract. You don't want to alliance with the right people. If you wanted to, you would be with me right up there with the rest of them, eliminating the human rights of people on the planet and awarded, therefore, a very lucrative career. You don't want to join the cult. You don't want to join the secret society. You don't want to admit that like your Jesus thing is not working, that Christianity is not paid. You don't want to admit any kind of day now that that's a thing. So while you could have been able to make money and so therefore rub shoulders with the likes of me, bottom line is you put yourself in poverty and then claim that Jesus Christ did it. Claim that Christ has preserved you, that the Lord has out to raised you up for such a time as this. You are going to claim and claim and claim, and in so claiming make me nice and uncomfortable. And so I'm going to eradicate all that disquiet. And so my olive branch to exit the flames of hell by handing you over to the men who've been wanting you all this time. If you can go there, I can comfortably go back to my life as normal. If I can succeed to make you fall apart, I can carry on as normal with the way that I've been doing life. Who the heck do you think you are to rock up and out here disquiet all of my conviction? Not my conviction, sorry, but my lack thereof. Who are you to come and disturb my peace, Sarabo? Listen, woman, I wasn't even trying to listen to people like you. I wasn't trying to come and hang out in a restaurant or people like you. But you made me sit at your table because you made me feel like, okay, if this woman does not get dealt with, if she's not wiped like a slate clean out of my door, I will forever be trepidatious and uncertain about what I'm doing. And I don't need any of that because I was on a trajectory here. I was on a journey. I was doing something. And you out to rock up and disturb my peace, honey. If you don't get your peace disturbed, you don't go to heaven. Paul had his peace disturbed on the road to Damascus, and now he's in heaven, having inherited the awards of apostleship. Don't nobody that was not interrupted in the middle of doing whatever they were doing at the time they were doing it ever enter God's rest. Because when the Lord rocks up, he interrupts you, he stops you dead in your tracks with what you're doing, and he makes you change a course, a trajectory. He puts you on a narrow road that leads to life that few people find. So if you don't want your peace interrupted, you're basically saying, Karabo, die so I can go to hell in peace. And while upon you wanting to go to hell in peace, I can't stop you. I, however, have got a mission to snatch some, if it is possible, from the flames of hell. I got a job to keep on speaking to people, so I won't die just because you want my death to eliminate the veracity of what I speak about your life. I'm not going to just go and commit suicide or marry a sabotaging monster or fornicate with a beast or accommodate HIV or be a prostitute or whore. I'm not going to be what you want me to be because you don't want your peace disturbed by a God that's trying to convict you of sin. But I can do this much. Try, even if it is possible, to snatch you from the flames. And if you don't want to come out from the flames, you don't gotta get out. But this your work, I'm gonna continue doing it despite it disquieting you. Despite it disquieting you. Despite it making you uncomfortable. Because it is men like you that go and marry crazy ladies. And then you come back and you make mistresses out of ladies like me. Because later on in life, when you're nice and decrepit and you're middle age, passing away, you suddenly want substance and you want girth and you want warmth, you want a comfortable blanket, you want a beanbag on which to chill, you want a hammock on which to swing, you want shades in the sun, you want somebody that's going to be home. But you passed up home all the way up to you making an empire in and of yourself, out of your arrogance. Like, snap out. Do you understand? Of your incendiary mindset. How you gonna be out here loving a woman and then after that make a decision that she gotta die at the hands of merciless beasts that devour women for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Types of men that would even gross you out, and you wanna go and throw what you imagine to be an intelligent woman that is right up your alley if only she was in your league materially. How you gonna go and throw all that mind and all that glory and all that beauty and all that virtue onto pimps that also belong to the same circus that you serve? Herein lies this man out here sitting with me at a table, the two of us getting along like a house on fire, me finding comfort finally, get cheersy, to relax and not be so uptight and scared in front of like a whole big chunky kahuna guy, yes. And after chit-chattering with this human individual, because I'm a God-fearing lady, because I'm a Christian, and from our bellies flow rivers of living water, I could not stop rapping on and going on and on and on about Jesus. But while he just wanted to talk about world events and perhaps maybe get my vantage point on religion, he got heavied by my Christian conversation because he's not godly. And it's the very thing that I was speaking about, why it is that I feel like Candace Owens had a crush on Charlie Kirk. But Charlie Kirk didn't want her because she was ungodly. They could have conversations, the two of them, about politics, about conservative issues, about their vantage point, their viewpoint on the world. But Charlie Kirk could not speak all the day and all the night long about Jesus, and Candace write it out. When you don't have the Spirit of God, you can't write out conversations about God. But people who have the Spirit of God can talk about God all the day and all the night long until it rises, until you go to McDonald's to finish your conversation. People who love the Lord can talk about the Bible from Genesis to Revelation without stopping and only fall asleep to catch rest, wake up, and then carry on talking about God. It is written in God's word that from our bellies will flow rivers of living water, that from the abundance of our hearts our mouths speak. Well, we are full of the light, we are full of Jesus, we are full of all of the gorgeosity of heaven. We can do no other thing but venerate him, and the closer we get to God, especially because of persecution, the more we have no one but him on our tongues. We get inebriated, wearied, and heavy by worldly conversations, just the same way that worldly people get inebriated and wearied by godly conversations. So the things of God cannot be perceived by the man who is perishing. Indeed, he considers them foolishness. Therefore, if you are merely curious about a person's vantage point on religion, but you're not interested or convicted of sin, by the Holy Spirit, you will not be able to write out righteous talk. And I could do no other thing, given that from my belly flows rivers of living water. I could do no other thing upon talking about politics to make it all about Christ and how he's fulfilling prophecy. And while I'm busy talking about conservative issues or even my vantage point on artificial intelligence and how I feel about singularity, whether or not it's right at the door, I could do no other thing but make that about the fact that the world is coming to a blistering end and mankind has innovated themselves into the Tower of Babel, and so therefore oblivion, and God must stop it. I could do no other thing in there but rather but make everything about God, because everything indeed to us, and indeed that is also true, is about God. The truth is absolute, and God is. Before Abraham was, I am. There is no other conversation that ought be on our tongues except him. But men have no reverence, they have no fear. They have no love, no respect. They don't have any veneration for their maker. And so they don't have respect for conversations pertaining here. I could do no other thing but talk about God in my dream. Yeah. And because I could do no other thing but talk about God in my dream, this guy got tired. He got exhausted, as in like, I want to sleep. But by then I had such strong feelings for him, and so too did he for me, that I told myself I was watered down by talking with him, evidencing the spirit of witchcraft operating in that dream. I told myself that I liked this guy too much, almost like I was reduced to the same namby-pamby state I was as a new convert or a new convicted person about the things of God. Out here willing to be with a guy that doesn't like Jesus because he's that cute. That's what this guy was like. That's what the one that I just told you about that I met in training was like. I was interrogating the things of God at the time of fraternizing with him and going on dates with him or whatever. And I was willing to basically ignore my strongly held convictions and the things of God just to be with him. I'm not that girl anymore. If I had been with that guy, though I was convicted that sex before marriage was a sin, I was gonna fornicate with him because I liked him enough. And in my dream, that's why the archetype of that dude was inside this guy from YouTube. I said to myself, he said, okay, so we were conversing. He got tired of my talk about God. And while I thought we could just keep talking for extended hours, because we were already talking 4 hours, but he could not take God in his stride. He then said, I'm tired, man. I need to go home. We need to go home. He said, we need to go home. He said, I'm tired. We need to go home now. I had gone there in my own car to my job, and he of course had gone there with his own car to his job. What was his car? In my dream, it was what is this thing called? It's not a trailer. Like, it is a trailer, like, you know, these vehicles that have beds in them and little bathrooms, like they drive them around. It's a trailer, right? Yeah. His vehicle was like a truck that had a whole elaborate house in it. That was his car. It was a trailer. I think it's called a trailer, but it was a lot more like bougie. It was not like trailers. It had more glory to it, if you will. It was a white mobile home. Let's call it that. His car was a white mobile home that he got into, and he was hazarding in it after telling me, let's go home. He got into his white mobile, and the vehicle was white, evidencing that God is calling him. Yes, oh, you brother man that don't want to leave the world to ministry. God is calling him. He's calling him enough to show him, I've already given you a car, and in it you're going to be on the road all the time. And in so being on the road all the time, will frankly need to even sleep in your car. But this man cannot fathom the day when he's out here working like I'm working, being dealt a bad blow by these here heinous secret societies that are making sure that his work goes nowhere. He's every time, but he can't stay there because God has called him. And if he doesn't want to respond to the call, indeed many are called, but few are chosen. However, in my dream, he was already driving around in a white trailer or white mobile home, evidencing that while he says that he wants to go home, he's tired. When he got in his car, that was his home. So he was going to drive to a brick and mortar house somewhere where he stays. When he got in the car basically told him, you're home. The car told him, your ministry is your home. The car basically told him, you might think you're going back to your massive mansion as a big content creator, but what you're rather going home to is the gospel. You are going to live in a trailer. You are going to travel across the world, and you're going to give the gospel. You are going to be a messenger of truth, and you're going to take in your stride that which you must take. And in so disagreeing that this is your mission, you're going to be burdened until you finally realize that there's nowhere else to be, Joe. And you are going to try and run, but listen, you're not going to hide. And umsebenzi that he's called to is more mobile than anything I can ever work. It's a mobile ministry. All across everywhere, to a point of not even having a proper stable home, living across maybe nations, perhaps his own country, I don't know. Do you not think God is raising up an army to effect him? Who's gonna set free North Korea? Who's gonna basically spearhead an argument about Iran, who's going to enable the healing of Nigeria and the church therein, except for people that are willing to pretty much not, like, barely ever be in their own houses, in their own beds, but always in foreign countries as diplomats, as negotiators, talking on behalf of a people because nobody else will listen to other people when they talk. This dude all comfortable sitting around in his twirling chair today, but he's got a massive call on his life, and I ignore and now hand over Edom to the very monster that I keep on lamenting against, so he would never do anything of that nature. He out to be trying to hand me over to some pimps. According to the law, he's just as disheveled as everybody else. Nonetheless, anyway, carrying on. Can't write out conversations with me, however, wrote out conversations with me. Not yet strongly convicted enough in the things of God for him to hold out conversations with me in Christ. And then at some point he was like, we need to go home. Saying that I'm out here crashing on him big time. I'm spazzing on him hard knock. Alright. And I then make a decision that, listen, I like this guy. I like him enough. I mean, we spoke all night. Like, whoa, I'm gonna just get over the fact that I don't want to have sex before marriage. And I'm gonna sleep with him. Like, I'm gonna sleep with him tonight. I said in my dream that I'm gonna sleep with this guy tonight. I'm gonna go home with him just like he said, let's go home. And I'm going to accommodate, hey, Crankat, when's that? I'm going to accommodate fornication. I said, to everything that I trust in the Lord. I'm sleeping with this guy because it don't get no better. Like, who do you think you are? Yeah. So he did a spell to eradicate what I am, to finally just finish me off. That's what he did. And my retaliation and my response is, at the end, my retaliation and my response is, you do a spell to hand me over to perverts and a cult and a brothel. Very well. But in your spell, I will show that all of your feet are going to come to a blistering end, and you've been called to the very same thing that I'm suffering, to be out here going all over these streets trying to talk to some people with nobody trying to listen to you. You come at me with a curveball trying to show me that Christ don't live, but I'm coming to you with a curveball to prove to you that he does. And look at his grace be all nice and irresistible. Mamela. We'll finally find out that tulip is a thing and grace is irresistible. He then hazards his vehicle. I had my own car, and my car was small in comparison to his. It was a white, like, sedan of sorts. Just some random old decrepit car that I was driving around, because listen, everybody is poor in my dream. That is in my particular league, in my sphere, as Christians, it's poor. So I'm driving a vehicle that's even more lackluster than my waking life vehicle. In my vehicle that's just out here parked, looking like a shell, white and Estratini. This guy gets in this buzzer of an not SUV, but this like trailer, black, white, and he's hazarding. And I tell myself that I'm gonna follow behind him like a convoy, and I'm gonna go to wherever he stays, and I'm gonna sleep with him tonight. Listen, I made him tonight. We spoke tonight. I feel like we've fallen in love. And I'm not going to hold out. I'm not going to lose him. I'm going to sleep with him. I thoroughly told myself that I'm going to have sex with this guy. That was his witchcraft. The witchcraft was to make me finally willing to fornicate. To make me finally willing to have sex. Because at the point of me deciding that I'm going to fornicate with him, he left. Because after all, it's not me that he was trying to be with. Though he might have developed feelings and had a crush on me, he was not trying to be with any of that. I ain't jack to him. He was trying to throw me to the structures that have been trying to weaken me all this time. And because he imagined himself as one who had leveled up quite a bit in the occult, he figured that he can just use the kind of sorcery that would like beguile a lady, show everybody else how this is done, and then hand me over to monsters and say, deal with her, y'all have been taking too long. I'll fix this. That's what he did. How can you be so fly and be a witch? Listen, I keep saying, what is with all these hot boys and them doing witchcraft? In my dream, I was willing to concede to fornication, but I will tell you this. While you might imagine yourself having ranked up so high that all these other occult practitioners ain't gonna compare, your sorcery is amateur in comparison to some of the sex curses I've been endured under. It's amateur. So you thinking you are super lofty in the occult is not even true. I've endured worse. I was able to immediately brush off that temptation once I woke up. There are some sex dreams or lust nightmares that I get that out here be getting me all hot and bothered the whole day. And I have to keep praying through it to finally break off from it. As soon as I woke up, I was able to be like, ugh, no. However, the crush I had in my dream lingered for a good maybe like hour or two. And I kept wondering, Manda, all these like beautiful people, how are you going to let yourself be squandered by the devil like that? But anyway, they're letting it happen. Do you? Okay. You're allowing it to be a commencement and a thing that is doing a thing. And I'm just like, you know what? Do a thing with that thing that you're doing, because doing things is what you love to do with all these thingy-mabobby things. Do you? All right. He left, however, and after leaving, I was so sad in my dream on the man that I was falling for, that I was liking, that I was finally willing to break my vow of chastity for after 14 years of celibacy, going on 15. He just left without exploiting, hitting that. That's how little he thinks of me. And that's how little he thinks of us. It's like, I'm going to get you to a point where you're going to want the kind of man that you can't have until you're willing to fornicate. But I'm not touching you. Who are you? You ain't jack. You're some peasant. He looked at me like I was a peasant. And that's why there is just a severity of frustration in me pertaining peers academically who are on my league intellectually. But since I did not get to monetize my skills and so be clout heavy, they thoroughly think, who are you? Oh, you're gross. You're You're not my size. You said I'm not his type. You're not the kind of chick I would ever be spotted anywhere with. Dude, let's have a conversation. I might not be from the UK, I'm from South Africa. So it's a third world land, we understand it in comparison to the one that you come from. Comprehend this much, however, you who is sitting where you are sitting, imaginative that I'm just a peasant. All my life I've been regal. All my life I've been that poised girl. All my life I've been that beauty queen that didn't want to do pageants, however. All my life I've been that popular chick, and all my life I've been that academic. All my life I have been that chick that was the most likely to become something just enormous one day. But one day in my life at the age of 26, I gave that life of mine to Christ. And now I am living at the dregs of society, all underestimated as a beauty queen. So to say, I'm not in your league, who do you think you are? Honey, I'm a queen. You're the peasant. You're the one in the kingdom of darkness. And I'm the one going to heaven. I'm the one that's a holy nation and a royal priesthood. And you're the one scraping about a whole chunk of witchcraft trying to make a woman have sex after 14 years of celibacy. I'm the one here that's dignified and regal. And you're the one here that's trying to make a woman become a prostitute. All my life I've been dignified. And all my life I've been moral. And even though I only became godly as a God-fearing woman, I nonetheless all my life have had regard for the fellow human being. That there makes out of you more of a peasant than I ever could be, despite me having no money in my bank account. Y'all need to gain perspective as to what makes for a person that's gross versus what makes for an individual that actually don't be making any kind of sense. All my life I've been queenly and regarded as such, and that's why all my life I've been so severely harassed by jealousy. There is a reason why this here is my life situation, my condition, and there is a reason why you even want to throw me to a whole chunk of pimps, oh bugger. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is because all my life I've been that girl that nobody can grasp, and now that I'm poor, everybody's trying to sleep with me real fast. Because all my life, don't nobody be able to get me any kind of easily. That's who I am. So we don't know what you're doing in these streets imaginative of the fact that, I'm gross. Because all my life I've been drawing men from all different kinds of races because I'm that gorgeous. So we don't know why under heaven you think you're awesome to a point of looking down on women that are perfectly wonderful, albeit going through a lot purely because they're not occult practitioners. The occult has made you a nice little mean bugger. You're shallow, you're uncouth and unloving, and you also have no regard for the human being. That is the kind of thing that you need to repent from, realize that you've been calloused, understand that you've been made to consume so many demons that you can't see that you are utterly and comprehensively inappropriate. And for the kind of podcast that you run, you ought to have more respect for humanity, and yet you don't. So therefore, all that which this is just a job for you. It's not so much about people, but just a job. You like the psychophants. You like individuals out there fanning you as you walk by. You like the red carpet, but you don't like people. So if you like the red carpet and you don't like people, then you can never be the kind of person that out there cares enough for people, for other human beings to take off jewelry, take off earrings, wear slip-slops, put on a doogie, and enter into a dangerous region just to reach people for Christ or rescue suffering saints. Prepare to take in your stride martyrdom should you get caught trying to rescue them, because to live is Christ but to die is gain. If you cannot make yourself like a Florence Nightingale or a Mother Teresa for the cause of the lowly, do not underestimate a woman that has that in her. I am a queen and you are a peasant, and you have offended me, you have insulted me, and imagined that you can turn me on and then throw me to somebody else to ravage me because your manhood is too legit to quit, to rather enter into my body. In my dream, I was made all riled up and decided that I'm going to sleep with some dude. And then he was like, okay, now that you're nice and riled up, go and sleep with a pimp. You see, the occult makes you nice and shallow. It makes you hollow. It makes you like this here monstrous beast that walked around my taxi where I was controlled to be taken somewhere strange in a Lamborghini and a beautiful suit. And then once I was made to leave because everybody wished me into obscurity, so the world is controlling me, he then entered into a taxi and started groveling and licking at my neck and saying, I love you. A man that passed me shade, was aloof, despondent, and out here with his nose in the sky, peaked like an interest. One day rocking up just before his wedding and hovering over me, confusing me and saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, until I say to him, you're confusing me, plus I used to date your best friend. You're the kind of man that be passing people shade until you realize I love them. So if you can hang with me for hours in a conversation and then hand me the pimps, you are exactly the gentleman I have just spoken to you about, that I met in training, with whom I was birds of a feather, that in that training could see himself in me and me in him, enough to slide me his name card and then give me a name card to write my name down, that we might introduce each other that way and then go on to ignore me for years. And then later on, try to make out of me a mistress. That's all you are today. All those Christians in the restaurant that thought you were important, one day you're gonna be hovering around them in their content, trying to make out of them a mistress because you're unhappy with whatever wife that you finally took. That's how the story ends. The devil deceives you into being mean-spirited. Now that you've made money, now that everybody thinks you're all that in a bag of chips and so they're kissing your body, the devil makes you, when you're there, like I said, peaks like an interest. He makes you just really unseemly and uncouth towards people that one day you are going to grovel at the feet of, just that they might give you just a little bit of love. Because where you're going at the speed of bullets that you are going there with, honey, there is no love over there. It's cold. It's all Antarctic. It's an igloo. It's an Eskimo. It's all icically. Where you're going, there is no honor. It's full of thieves, and there is no honor among thieves. Where you're going, there's no true ride or die in this. There's women who are willing to sell out to the highest bidder, women willing to divorce you for a wealthier man than you, or a man that has maintained his wealth since you're losing yours. Where you're going, there's no loyalty. Where they're going, there's no riding it out with you all the way to the end. Where you're going, there's no holding you down when you are out here disabled with a spinal injury. Where you're going, there's no visiting you by a cornucopia of people that are singing hymns and psalms and spiritual songs to you as you are on your way out dying from terminal cancer. Where you're going, there's no love. And where we're at, there is love. And that love is calling you to Jesus, to basically disrobe yourself from all of that shallowness where you're trying to turn a woman on until you say, I'm not sleeping with you, but since you're already all riled up, go and ride some pimp. Where you're going, there's no love, because where you're going, people with characters like yours get worse and worse over time. Get born again, get redeemed, repent, because where you're going, it's just empty. It's giving Jeffrey Epstein. It's giving hanging in a prison cell. Where you're going, there's transhumanism. Until your body is irredeemable and you can't enter the rest of God that you are trying to pretend doesn't exist. Where you're going, there is no love. So come down from the lofty height where you have perched yourself like a bird and recognize that I am your queen and I'm cracking a whip, and you ought respect me because I've been in this game for a minute and I'm trying to snatch your soul even from the flames of hell. Have some respect for your elders, because that's what I am in spiritual terms to you. Been about this business for many more years, and as callous as you are, having ranked up in the occult, it's the kind of voice that I have that can snatch even you, O soul, on the road to Damascus out from the flames of hell. Where you're going, you marry empty women, but where I go, we enter into marriages of covenant, where women are ride or die to imprisoned men because they were serving Jesus, and they visit them every single weekend at the prison. That's my kingdom. Where you're going, there's no loyalty, and yet you think I ain't Jack. Mamela, listen, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna suffice. Because I got people out here in deep regret about passing me up because I lost a job. And now they wish they could turn back the hands of time like R. Kelly. They can't go back, they can't marry me, and now they're trying to make me a side piece, and that's why they put me at the precipice of suicide. And despite all that sorrow that I am enduring, just to clear your conscience of your desire to maintain your current trajectory, you're trying to throw me on the very pimps that I despise. So we're then going to get into these here crazy women that think that I'm going to say not yours but mine, not yours but mine. Listen, stupid women. It's men like the one I'm talking about right now that pass me up, that now want to make out of me a side chick that marry you. And so now you want me to fight you in a cockpit and say, but like proper, I love him and I've always loved him and he's always loved me. It's just that now that he's married, he's realized it. I'll never marry a man like that. I will never accommodate a shallow monster. And I will also never accommodate a man I used to love that, however, passed me up, and now that he's married, he sees that he made a mistake. I'm not that girl. I don't take up for in my stride. So you will never ever succeed, despite my age. I'm 41, we get it. You will never ever succeed to make me, based on accommodate just frankly just being a little madam brothel lady chica out here chilling in like a nightlife establishment. So all this consecrated. Don't look at me wearing shiny earrings. I'm too godly for all that nonsense. And that is evident, it's clear. It is stark is staring at you like a lover in the middle of Valentine's Day. It is evident that I am a God-fearing woman. And yet there are people out there trying to scratch at my door, enter in Ngengani. Why? Because bachate all of you. Bachate abafazi abashelo that ran after their money and that also hiss at them. And now you out to be trying to make out of me a crazy little incendiary lady with no nice personality. Singing not yours but mine, that boy is mine. I don't want him if he looks like this guy that is a gargantuan, handsome cutie boy today. Yet he's got mad disrespect issues. And when he gets older, he's going to be an irritating putmazisa that is upsetting some young lady that really and truly, I just want my husband. Stop hollering. If he doesn't repent. Today he is called, but if he does not respond to his call, he will be handed over to being nasty, gnarly, monstrous, and vomiting in his pants. And so therefore look nothing like what he looks like today. But our women not out here breaking their teeth and out here cutting their hair to be with him. Kuyasanyiswa in these streets where the cute boys become wealthy. And basanyiswa imit. And there is an epidemic in my hero nation, South Africa, where crazy little cute boys, and given that they're as cute as they are, tall as they are, beautiful teeth as they are just smelling like cologne all the day long as they do. Women, there is not a shortage of them across the color spectrum. And so having all this from which to pick, they then underestimate women with their own skin tone. I've endured all such boys. And now today, Kenya, I'm 41. Ain't got no time to be dancing around and play. But they still be out there trying to dance around and play like I'm 16 all over again. I have no respect for them, but they are planning where I'm concerned. Y'all need to repent. Y'all need to walk away that you might not be dissed by God-fearing people that find you abominable to even suggest certain things. This dream did not end over there. Dude out here abandoned me, leaving me high and dry, riled up sexually, prepared to fornicate, and then handed me over to sitting at a restaurant this time around of his kind of echelon type people. It was no longer a classy restaurant, but an important one because I was now willing to fornicate. It was the kind of restaurant that I'll just be hanging out in the Sandton and not so much in the center of Soweto. I wasn't now that restaurant, but I was sitting there with no one to help me along. I was sitting there with no one to wait at my table. I was sitting there with no one prepared to listen to me, talk to me. Everybody was aloof and standoffish. Whereas in the restaurant where I was waiting tables, we were all in camaraderie with each other. We were serving each other. We were in support of each other. But in this restaurant, everybody was snooty at their tables eating. And I was sitting at this restaurant having no friends, waiting for what don't nobody know. And then guess who came to me to finally just help me along? My cousin, the one that has bewitched me into obscurity, into oblivion, that has tried a human sacrifice ritual on me in the past, but it didn't work, that has taken me out of anything at all that makes all kinds of sense and bewitched my family and then hope that one day I will see where she's coming from. This here cousin that was always substandard and subservient to me, who now today, however, looks like my big fat boss lady economically, came to pick me up. Someone that in waking life I would never accommodate. But here it is that I'm accommodating her in this dream. Why? Because in this dream I also was willing to accommodate fornication. So I mean, what's a cousin into human sacrifice and all? Yeah. Herein lies this here rando female walking up to pick me up, finally seeing as I have seen the error of my ways and latching onto this weird Jesus of mine. Now that I was happy to fornicate, oh, look at that. Apparently, allegedly, as soon as you're content to fornicate, you now qualify not so much to get a boyfriend that's going to ravage your body and so desecrate your virtue, but be a prostitute. So I go for my man. So I go in my dream for people wanting me to just have a boyfriend with whom I'm messing up with my virtue, to servicing men in one night, because that's all I can do now. Do you not see just how much farther down a rabbit hole you keep on falling when you belong to the cults that you belong to? You're gonna go and grab a lady that you wanted to break a vow of chastity with an idiot boyfriend and try and make her a whore in a bra, because you're not getting a job anymore, Garabo. We now, after you desecrate us and destroy us and humiliate us and diss us for years, now seeing as you're 41 and so frankly your ship has sailed, now you can do no other thing but human man, get down on your knees, give them fellatio, serve at their beck and call, and do whatever they want you to do in a brothel that's going to give you at least an apartment that you're going to live in now that you have got, like, I don't know, a job. Yeah, with my nether regions, this cousin collected me in order to send me to an induction at a brothel. Yeah, because she's been working at one all this time. Sure. This here cousin that was collecting me to go and Ngiyosebenza kwi-brothel. Yo, alright. She picked me up with the chick from YouTube. And the two of them kept on saying as we were walking there, you're gonna see it's not that bad. Oh, God have mercy. You're gonna see it's not that bad. You're gonna see it's not that bad. It's all they could say on the way there. You're gonna see it's not that bad. You're gonna see it's not that bad. I'm out here walking with my cousin after being disappointed by a prospective lover boy. And she kept on saying, they kept on saying, you're gonna see it's not that bad. We finally get to the door of the brothel. It was like some hotel. And outside of it, there were these two black men, middle-aged men that you could tell had abafazi married and were respectable in their communities. But look at what they're doing at this brothel. They were chilling outside in this restaurant. Not restaurant, but this brothel that was like a hotel. They were sitting on sofas in this brothel. And these are mamela. Imagine grown men that out here be looking like the size. Imagine a men like the size of Cyril Ramaphosa, just in terms of stature too. Like Mukaba Ole, you know, like Bantu Holomisa type men, like Wede Mantashe type men, like men that age, men with also that stature. Mikaranyana setapo abobaba basezi dog. What is so fengzena? And they had one man had his hand in the pants of the other man, giving him sexual favors. As this other guy out with the man for annoy whiskey, just enjoying the sexual favor. Like they were out here. The one man was out here handling the other man while they sat there outside of the hotel, outside, like in broad daylight, doing this thing because it was understood this is an establishment for that. And Mona, look at the politicians. Mona, look at the big business bosses. Mona, what I want to come and handle each other's manhood because they've got a secret homosexual fetish that they're hiding from their wives. And it's what I keep saying. These occult organizations are to be making everybody nice and gay. Like, don't nobody want to repent. We don't know what's going on. And these here men whose grown wives who are the age of our mamas are handling each other's manhood in brothels. And there are women that they recruit that are struggling, that are going through a hardship in these streets, like Abu Karabo. And they try to put them in spaces like these to service men like that. I see this here ugly scene and on my way to the brothel with my cousin Archer saying, you will see it's not that bad. I kept on asking them, am I gonna have to have sex with any of these guys? Because I don't want to have sex. Because I had said to myself that I was gonna fornicate with the other guy, right? But I was not prepared to go and have sex in a brothel as a prostitute. I wanted sex with just a boyfriend in my dream. And here it is that I was reduced from sex with a boyfriend or a prospector for a boyfriend to now I'm out here giving sexual favors to strange men I find not attractive in a sex space. Sex work. These people have been trying to get me in sex work for a minute and I don't even know. Listen, I'm born again. Never mind that. I've just never been about those streets. People in the occult think they can convert a small little short child into an adult overnight using witchcraft. They think they can go and grab a skinny lady and make her obese over 2 weeks. I have had people even put the witchcraft on me and they're like, oh, no. Overnight. They think they can go and grab just like a grasshopper and make it an elephant. As soon as they happen upon witchcraft, they think there is nothing that is inconceivable for them to get. If they can conceive it, they can achieve it apparently. So they go and they grab entire virgin-like people, put them in hardship and say, you're gonna be a prostitute. Prostitution is a personality. And yes, sometimes it is induced by hardship, but largely it's a personality. Prostitution happens because a woman is willing to go out like that. Because if at all you're going to end up in prostitution, it says that you are unprepared to be a waitress. If at all you're going to end up a prostitute, it says that you are unprepared to clean people's houses. If at all you're going to be a prostitute, it says that you were unprepared to scan groceries at the Pick and Pay. When I woke up from that job, I was like, Mamela, I would rather scan groceries at the Pick and Pay, seeing as you refused to let me ever work a day again in my life. If things got to that level of financial desperation, I would knock on the doors of Pick and Pay and Woolies and insist on folding shirts, then become a prostitute. Harlotry, sex work is a personality. It is a character flaw in people. They do it because they are chachi and want to lie down on their backs as opposed to sweep floors. And it makes them a lot more money than sweeping floors. So rather than live in a decrepit apartment, they want a proper one, however, on their backs. It's a personality. It's a total personality, and I don't have it. My cousin has always been about those prostitution streets, khalasag. So it makes sense that she would be humoring something of that nature. And of course, Marimabi Matakala from YouTube also. Type of chick to be out here having an orgy with 5 guys in one night. So yes, that's her personality. But I was the girl that out here be prudish and ignoring every guy and not go marrying anything in July, and hanging out in relationships long term with guys where I don't cheat. But that cousin that I spoke to you about is the kind of girl to be out here cheating on her man with his best friend. Yeah, no, I did that. I didn't do that. I left a guy for his friend, but I was a virgin. I've never slept with 2 friends. My cousin is the kind of person to sleep with 2 friends. Prostitution and harlotry is a personality. Not every woman got it going down, and there are people that are prepared to scrub floors that do that. Men and women in the occult, however, think they can induce so much hardship in some people that they can make them change personalities too overnight, just like converting a grasshopper into an elephant. You're not going to succeed to achieve certain things in people, whether or not they're born again. But with me, it's especially taboo, because I'm saved. That anybody at all is trying this with me is just like entirely shocking. But Mamela, shock is all the day long that which I discuss. So roasted all the day long is all that which I can only do. So come at me, a horse, and I will eat you like your dinner. I will nibble on you like I'm a cannibal. I will consume you whole and then spit you out like chicken bones after eating chicken licking hot wings after babalas. I will eviscerate you. You don't get to convert eyeballs into noses because you know magic. We understand you can shapeshift, but that's only because you're a transhuman. The rest of us are people with a conscience. The rest of us are people belonging to a God that we regard. And so therefore the rest of us are not little whores willing to out to sleep with every single god day. Jongani, however, that I will see is not that bad. And not only that, I kept on asking on the way to this here brothel, am I going to have to sleep with guys? Because while I'm happy to sleep with a boyfriend, I don't want to have sex with a stranger for money. I'm not a prostitute. And all they kept on responding to me was saying, you will see it's not that bad. People trying to induct me into witchcraft. Like what in the world? And also just sexual deviant act, sexual contract. I told you the occult is rife with STDs because these people have to have sex and definitely to make money. The devil will pervert them in any way. And then there are all these dreams I keep on getting of the lesbian kissing each other. And I'm like, go and love one another. And so therefore decline birth rates in countries. But we're not about that business. I've been saying it time and time again. Man, as soon as they happen upon witchcraft, they think they get anything they want with it. Anything. Including grabbing a God-fearing woman and making her nyati for life. As funny nani nonke aslanya springis chinama pilisi wala stajad. We don't just embrace dirt, do you understand? The whole world is not gullible, credulous like the rest of y'all. You be out here getting money by any means necessary. Some people are prepared to scrub floors because that which you do is just too hectic for them. But you run the world because you think you're nice. If I rule the world, imagine that. You run the world as a small little conglomerate of 3%ers. And this one running the world has made the world completely ignore Iran. I've been saying it. It's giving semyazi. Fallen angel out to be hanging out with female women. And so that's why. Female people. And so that's why. There's Nephilim. You're incendiary, you're crazy, you've lost your minds, and you need to repent. And the longer you linger in this here environment, you also will think that you can convert a Vaseline tub into a whole baby. You got ambitions, and your ambitions are lackluster, lost, and decrepit, and you will never win them or fulfill them. You will never succeed to get anything done with them, but you will run with them like they are anything kind of salvageable. We understand you're nice and mentally ill, but everybody else in these streets is nice and fed up with you. So I think we've reached an impasse. I get there, and these people are out here making out with not making out with each other, but handling each other as men. About Dalanje, that are the girth and the stature of men like Cyril Ramaphosa. Handling each other's manhood. Now, when you get that old, it stops being sexy to be kissing as 2 women. When you get that old, it stops being sexy to be fornicating as 2 men. It looks ugly. And there at that brothel, there were 2 homosexual streak men. There at that brothel, there were 2 entirely unattractive, grown homosexual streak having men handling each other's manhood, and it didn't look sexy. It just looked lewd. In the same way that even handsome, gorgeous, fit and well-built men kissing each other is lewd. But that there was just like an extremity, like an nth degree, an exponent of lewd. Y'all get old, and when you get old, it stops being cute that you're kissing a girl and you're liking it as Katy Perry. And that was what happening at the very door of this brothel. I never went in, but I was sitting outside. Oh, when we went in, we see these men at the hotel, and then my cousin is like, listen, we need to respect them as they're busy pleasuring each other, because it's do what thou wilt, for this is the whole of the law. They're busy pleasuring each other. So my cousin was like, no, we need to hide and act like we didn't see them. We need to hide and respect that they are men who act straight in front of their wives, and in their communities they're revered as heterosexual fathers and grandfathers. So we're gonna hide ourselves from seeing them, that they might not feel exposed. Because this here cult, it prides itself in shrouding itself in secrecy. People that you will trust, that you will smile with, that are sleeping with each other as a 68-year-old men. Oh my goodness. There's no end to how insane this environment is. There's no end. And my cousin and like this ridiculous lady. My cousin and this ridiculous lady, Matakala, and I scooted Sakuta Sazifisha, basically waiting for these men to finish pleasuring each other before we could go in and me be inducted into a brothel as one of its whores. The dream ended before I could go in there. It ended with us scooting and basically their lewd activity. Manvuga, I was so bereft. I was so sad. I was like, God, when I was man. I was so broken. But man, I can log out codes, can log out boto. And then tota kidi logang, I kidi taloka, I kidi born, I kidi born next. And then jaka haka gidi shibile hakana. I was like, they can go and grab an eyelash and make it a whole roll of printed paper. So of course they think I'm gonna one day be a whore. Yeah, they see it. They see it coming. Mara, when are you gonna stop them in their tracks, dead? Hold them. As a full stop in defense, that's gonna come to a blistering end. When are you gonna end them? When?